Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Would everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first order of business is I would entertain a motion to recess our regular meeting for the sake of opening up our public hearing on the school resource officer.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are in public hearing.
Would you like me to review the scope?
Yes, sir.
The scope, the School Resource Officer Program is designed to provide education, law enforcement, and counseling to students. It is an attempt to deter criminal behavior through positive interactions with students during school hours. The School Resource Officer will work with the school community to promote a safe learning environment for all students.
So the Board of Ed, we anticipate potential approval of the School Resource Officer's Contract Agreement on Tuesday, December 10th. So if anyone listening has any comments or questions regarding this, please filter those through our Corey Frainer via email prior to that date. With that, I will open up. Anyone have any public comment? No one in attendance tonight. Again, any questions or comments, please be forwarded to our district clerk at cfrainer@waltoncsd.org or by calling 607-865-4116, extension 6130. Again, we'll be looking to approve that contract and voting on that December 10th at our regular meeting. So having no public comment, I would entertain a motion to return to our regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are returned to general session. First on our general session, we have the approval of the November 5th regular meeting minutes.
Make the motion to approve them.
Second.
A motion second to approve the minutes. Any discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. Next, we have approval of the CSE CPSE recommendations.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. And now we're up to public comment. Again, I don't see anyone here for public comment. So we will move to our discussion items. First on these discussion items is our facilities committee meeting. We met on November 12th. That link is on there, that hyperlink is on there for everyone. We also have it up in the library if you want to see the notes on those. Our next meeting is December 3rd. Kevin, would you like to start on a recap for facilities?
Sure. One of the things we talked about was, and the approval's coming for you tonight, was the applying for a grant to get a study on basically on relocating the school out of the waterway, or not school, I'm sorry, the bus garage. Look at different locations and just to get that process started. We talked about the progress of the Townsend School. They're doing very good. It's going very well, and actually coming through under budget, which is a wonderful thing. And again, there's some things in here that we're looking to fix while we're over there with that process. That'll be coming to the board tonight. Mainly the controllers and for the heat and AC, correct?
Correct.
So really, I think just the progress at Townsend, there's a lot of things that we discussed in between there with the future capital projects and everything else too, but just basically the bus garage is the big elephant in the room at the time that we're trying to work through some different things with that, and that's gonna be a big ticket item, and it's in serious need of some renovations, and there's a lot of red tape, I guess, if that's probably the best term I can come up with right now. Because of its location with the waterways and the floodwaters and all the stuff, we can only do so much. And so we're trying to navigate all that.
So I'll elaborate on that.
Thank
if
you.
want.
Go ahead.
So
Appreciate
with the bus garage, when we did the electrification study of the buses, the size of the buses don't physically fit in our garage. They're both taxed lengthwise and height. The roof on the bus garage has also been noted in our 5-year evaluation plan as deficient, to say the least. The problem we have, most school districts are sovereign entities, so they can waive certain local laws. The one you cannot is flood law. So if we improve that structure by more than 50%, you have to bring it up into compliance with the flood laws, which means elevation, 2 foot above base flood elevation, a lot of other things. The bus garage sits in the regulatory floodway. So basically you cannot do anything there to raise the water surface elevation even a centimeter. So it really, you can see what's happened is that the necessity to make the bus garage fit the new buses, as well as touching, if you touch the roof alone, you're gonna be over 50% value of the structure. So no matter what, we're caught in that catch-22. How do we handle this? So we thought the most reasonable thing to do is to have and apply for a CWC grant. It's a $10,000 grant to look at what options would we have if we wanted to relocate the building. We do have a feasibility study that we did prior to that showed how do we flood-proof the building. If we go up against that 50% value, we basically, they're regulating you to move the building. So with that study, they're gonna look at, first of all, how feasible is it to move the actual building? Is it up to this campus? Is that a feasibility? Is that a feasible option? Is it another parcel out there we're not thinking about? So we thought there was no harm to gather more information and more data. The application would be fully funded by CWC if they approve it. So we thought, why not go out? We're gonna ask for permission, you'll see here, to execute that agreement, to actually turn in the application to CWC for that $10,000 study. So we're gonna have them work directly with our architects as well, because a lot of this preliminary stuff's already been done. So maybe they don't have to reinvent the wheel. And all that information will be fed to us to be able to make a better decision on the facility standpoint, to bring to the full board a full package rather than we think this or we think that. It should be a complete package at that point that could be researched by state ed. One of the challenges we have with state ed is we don't know what's reimbursable and what's not on the building. So they're saying no storage of buses, bays, yes, mechanical shops, yes, offices, yes, so we have to get a footprint designed, and we've been working with admin. Admin's brought us the footprint to say, here's the size, send it up to state ed and say, what parts of this, or is all of it reimbursable? Because we have to know that, because if whatever's not reimbursable would be full value to the district, and that's not a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to help with state aid. So all that's getting linked together. I know there's a lot of information right there, but the feasibility study we're asking for permission to execute through CWC, just the application to send out, is what's on the docket for now to move that forward. The other piece, again, like Kevin said, Townsend School has, in my opinion, has gone along excellent. Both phases of this, I can knock on wood, we can talk about now. I said it was like opening a tomato soup can upside down and trying to catch it all, and they did it twice, and they did it under budget, and they did it on, I believe, under our timeline too. So my hats off to everybody involved in that on our behalf, the people that have done the construction inspection, the designers, the contractors, our staff for being patient to get these things done. I've seen what it looks like. You guys have seen phase 1, and they did an amazing job. And because of that, we can add on some of the other parts of the project because they're under budget that we want to tackle that weren't originally in the budget because we didn't know where we would end up. So Meg, again, with our finance piece, I got to thank the finance piece too, because if they weren't tracking this and doing a good job there, we could have missed this project, and they've done excellent. So knock on wood, it's all delivered the way we wanted it to. Anything else on facilities?
I just had a question about the solar. that was mentioned there, that's just another company that?
It's another company that actually does an actual study and gives you your different options. So rather than the first company that we had was just a PPO model that they funded. This one has 3 different models. PPO actually, what we're hearing from this company is that's something they stopped even recommending 3 years ago because there's just changes in federal funding allotment with it. So they'll actually break down the finances of a straight project versus an EPC project and break it right down that and based on all of it. So we'll see all the values. Where the last proposal, we didn't see a lot of those values. We couldn't see what were we putting out, what were we gaining. This is going to be straightforward. So they're working on it now, and we should have that. It's no cost to the district, so I said go, and we should have that. They're saying by the middle of December, first week or middle of December. So excited to see that process. And with the funding that they had as examples of the district they just worked in, that's going to be exciting for the board to consider at some point in the future. Do you do a separate solar project because you can fund the local share with what we've learned in the past with grant monies. So that opens up a whole possibility regarding solar as you move forward. So that was my last piece of the study and information to get to you. So we're on it, and hopefully we'll have it mid-year.
Next up, we have under discussion is the Finance Committee. They met on November 14th. Who wants to give that update?
Go ahead.
All right, so the notes are in board docs. We reviewed the investment policy in the process as we have previously discussed. One of the additions there is that Meg is going to be providing a monthly update with the regular financial reports. That's going to provide us information on the interest rates that we're getting from local banks. So that's going to be a nice addition to our regular reporting. We also talked about an end of the year report that would be completed, which would sort of summarize any change in banking that took place during the year, and that would be presented at the end of the year financial closeout presentation like Meg did this year. We also talked about that the related policy is going to move to the policy committee for revision. So expect to discuss that at the next policy meeting. We also talked about the budget development calendar, which is on the agenda for approval tonight. We recommended moving the community survey to the first week in February. That'll give us some time to adapt and come up with questions based on what the governor is proposing in the budget this year. Last year we did the survey before the proposal came out, so it wasn't really the best timing. We weren't able to gather information from the community, so I think that'll put us in a little bit better position this year going forward. Then just some general updates from the business office. We're looking at implementing some new financial planning software and online tool that's frontline financial planning that allows for regular budget management as well as long-term planning. So that's an exciting tool. It's going to make it easier for Meg to produce graphics for our annual budget presentations. She's going to try it out this year, and then we're going to basically see how it works and make a decision if we're going to move forward in the future years. Meg's going to update and distribute the long-range planning spreadsheet that we had last year. We're also, in terms of our supply purchasing, we're moving to the Amazon K-12 program. So that's an exciting opportunity that should present some more opportunities for our teachers to place orders and help to streamline the process and the distribution of materials when they come in, which has been a headache in the past. We also talked about the increasing cost of health insurance and the challenges that continues to present to the district. Both Meg and Mike are continuing to look at options for the district and how we can improve in that regard. Expect more on that as we move into the early part of next year. Looking forward towards next year's tax collection. So we've done it 2 years in a row now, collecting taxes ourselves. It's worked well. The suggestion, though, is that we move to no longer having in-person tax collection, and we do online or a Dropbox or mail. That would help to streamline the process. Other districts are already doing this. And I guess the last thing we discussed was the SRO position, and in light of what we're looking at in terms of continued increases in health insurance, the potential challenges that the additional cost for an SRO could mean to the district. We discussed that moving forward with the SRO in the short term, it could be difficult to take that away if we put it in place, so that's one consideration. And it may be beneficial for us to make it clear to the community that this is a one-time application of the fund balance to pay for the SRO for a 6-month period, and that any future application has to go through the normal budgeting process. We have to consider, all the financial constraints on the district. So, there's anything else that?
No, it sums up. The biggest thing, I think, was the potential, the way the insurance is looking substantial. So that's.
Wasn't the health insurance covered by the county with the SRO?
Oh, yeah.
No,
we're
I'm
about-
talking
Oh, okay.
the regular
We're
health
talking about
insurance.
regular
insurance
Okay.
statutes.
That was
So I
looking
was
at
stuck on
a
the SRO. I
substantial.
thought the SRO's health insurance was covered by
Yeah.
the county, that helps pay the cost.
We also did, just about the SRO, talk about the importance of looking for federal funding to cover that. So if anybody sees anything related to federal funding for that or any other grant opportunities, make sure that we pass them on to Mike, so we can continue to explore those
As
opportunities.
well as any mental health grants that you may see.
Right.
I know that with the health insurance, being on, as long as Kevin and I have been on the board, we've been down this cycle several times. It's not easy. It always happens 2-3 years out, right? Every 2-3 years, it seems like there's a switch in either who you have to deal with or how you have to deal with them, because they
Exactly.
play that game. If you don't switch carriers every 2 to 3 years, they just keep going up and up and up. So we've been through that before. I know staff has too. It's a challenging time to have to sort all that stuff out, and it's terrible. You have to keep going through that, but if you have these big jumps, you have to find ways to mitigate. The school can't get a straight dead line up on costs for health insurance. And that's a big, I remember last time we did this, I wanna say the district, by switching last time, saved us around 800,000 by switching what the proposed was. So, I mean, they're not small numbers. I don't know what the numbers are now, but I mean, they're not small numbers. When we switched last time, the savings were tremendous. And had you not switched, and jumped out of, I think it was New York 40.
You're at
44,
44 to
yeah.
Excellus, and then we changed
Yeah.
from a traditional PPO to high deductible,
Yep.
and that saved us, I think the last time we did a comparison, over $1 million
Yeah.
if we had stayed.
So, I mean, it's unfortunate that that has to be done like that, but at the same time, the district has to be sustainable. So we can't keep going. We can't go up $1 million every 3 years in those costs and expect to be able to handle that. So good luck. Can't wait to hear how that goes from that committee. Anything else on finance committee? Policy committee will meet on Monday, November 25th at 5 p.m. The time's good for everybody, 5 o'clock. Kevin?
I don't think I put it in.
Curriculum committee will meet on Monday, December 9th at 4:30. Is that still a go?
Maybe a little late, potentially, but I don't know if you wanna push it to 5, that'd be easier that day, or otherwise I'll just could be a little late.
I'm okay with 5.
So 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah.
Are you good with 5?
Yeah.
Thank you.
5 o'clock.
I'm along for the ride, so whatever you need. 5 folks.
Okay. Just a reminder for those who RSVP to Corey by email or calendar about the DCMO BOCES CTE National Honor Society induction ceremony. It's this Thursday at the Herald campus at 6:30. I know unfortunately I have a conflict now.
That's okay.
As long as we have somebody representing us there, I'll be happy.
Art and I will be in attendance.
Okay.
So we'll be there on behalf of the district. Anybody else who wants to join us is great. If not, we're there.
Thank you. Okay, and finally, new addition to this agenda under discussion items, NISBA in-district legislative challenge. Kevin being our administrative advocate, legislative advocate, will lead us in this. Mr. Muir.
Yeah, so this is a challenge that NISBA is putting out. They just put out this email yesterday with, and it's in board docs, so you can kind of see what this is. It's basically a 2-month challenge for Board of Education advocacy liaison position to meet with members of the state assembly, the state senate, and your member of Congress. So I saw this email a few weeks ago when they're suggesting that this was going to come out, and I thought, well, this might be a good idea for us to kind of push forward to get some meetings with our representatives, since we have some big ticket items on the table, like the bus garage. We have SRO funding. To me, this is a good opportunity to get in front of our representatives and, you know, let them know the challenges that we're facing and see if there's any opportunities to get some assistance through the state and federal funding. So I'm game for this, to work through this, and use this as a reason to set up those meetings. But I just wanted to kind of talk through what the process might look like for us, you know, as a district, and the timing and how all that might come together. I know we've talked about having meetings previously. You know, Mike, you said you'd be willing to make calls and set stuff up, but
Of course.
I think it would be important for us to also have a discussion about what do we want to bring to the table, what do we want it to look like.
Yep. We are regionally meeting at our next CSA meeting. Afterwards, we're in lunch and the legislature are coming in. They actually requested more meetings with superintendents in the region, but they're looking for more meetings. They'll be very receptive to individual district meetings as well. They want to know before they go to the table to work through their budget and negotiations and such. They want to know the issues. We can try to get all at once. We can try to do multiple meetings. We can go to their place. They can come here. We can flush it out, you know, with all three to kind of hit it. And you're volunteering to be along for the ride, and then we'll go out from there, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And we haven't had a representative here
We haven't.
at the school,
Yep.
right? So I think it would.
That'll be our first invite.
Yeah, it'd be
We'll try to
great to
get them
have
here.
somebody here.
And if we have 3 different visits, that's fine.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, that's fine. But we've got 3 topics in my mind that are big ticket topics and are something that's discussed at the state level, right? 2 of them. We got the SRO with school safety. We have mental health with the grant that's going off and the funding we're trying to achieve to continue with and extend and hopefully grow our school social worker program. And then 3, we've got the floodway issue and the bus garage and the electric buses that took us down this road, in addition to the floodway regulations. Those are 3 major topics, and we can focus right on that. And if they want other budgetary items, that's easy enough for us to make a list. But we also know that we have the foundation formula being, you know, reworked, so it'd be a little bit early to have those conversations, and we will have those later from the legislative end as a region. So we can circle back to that, but wouldn't be a bad idea. Since I've been here, we haven't, since COVID, I've had 1 legislature in the district, and that was the first year after. And that was more, they didn't really come and walk through the school district. They wanted to come meet me because I was on the chamber board. It was from that angle. It really wasn't from the district angle. So, yeah, I mean, if that's what the board wants to do, I'm game. Of course I'm game. I have to be game, but I'm game. I think this will benefit us.
And the challenge, I mean, anybody would be invited to the meetings. The only requirement for this is that I would have to be in one of the pictures. And then if you were to complete all 3, then the district gets a plaque and recognition through, I think, NISBA.
I would suggest, with as busy as we are, that, you know, that Kevin's a must, right?
Sounds like
You have to be in the
We gotta
picture.
get 3 pictures of Kevin.
Right? 3 pictures of Kevin with 3 different people. And of course, I'm along, like I say, I'm along for the ride. It's my job. I'm there. So it'll be the 2 of us, and then after that, anybody else who is available and would like to come.
Can I be on crutches?
I'm thinking from Graydon's perspective, we're gonna discuss the floodway. Maybe we can get you in on the screen, right? And
Get that piece in January, February.
there we go. Well, we can do that too. We can target that, and then maybe get Shelley down.
Yep.
The
absolutely.
county, and have those conversations from your day job and from Shelley's FEMA discussions, and really make it be a worthwhile meeting.
Right.
And see if we can't give them some knowledge. We always want to make sure we develop product for them to take away. That's what they'll tell you, is give us something to take away. Don't just have verbal conversations. So we'll have to put together a package as well, which won't be hard for us to do.
And I would think that if we moved everything forward at that point in time, it's appropriate, we'd have the sheriff in on that one discussion as well.
Oh, absolutely.
For photo ops, things like that. I'd
Yep.
recommend.
It'd be great if we could get them here at the same time
Yeah.
and bring that whole group together and have a nice discussion. We did that,
What is your
we
thought
could start-
process, to try to hit all three at the same time, or what are you thinking? Is this a one stop, is this three stops, or?
I think we go for one and then we spread out as we have to.
Yeah,
It's hard to get them all pinned down for one,
yeah.
but if we get lucky, that'd be great. It'd be a great opportunity. But if we don't, then we go 2 or 3 or whatever we need to do, right?
Yep.
More noise we make, the more we get out there with these needs that we have, the better off we're gonna be. So, I'm game.
Yeah, if it has to be 3, that's fine with me.
Yeah, that's
We'll make it work.
We'll figure it
Yeah.
out. We just gotta get them to agree.
3 pictures, Kevin, we want the plaque on the wall.
Good, good. The other thought as well that I had was that if they're coming to the district and they had interest in meeting with community as well, then that's another opportunity. Like we could offer up the auditorium and then they can take questions if they wanted to. You know, it's really up to them about what level of interaction they're looking for
Yeah.
as well.
We'll see what'll bring them in.
I wonder if you'd be better off with one at a time, because then you could actually take them through the district a little easier, maybe, for discussions. I mean, whatever works, their scheduling is gonna be a thing. And is this a, like, November, December 2 month, or is this 2 months from the time you start?
This is December 1st to February 1st.
Oh, okay.
Yep. They're trying to get districts to have meetings right before during the budgeting process, so that
I
we
just
can
was,
get stuff on the table. So that's why I saw this and was like, we have big ticket items like the bus garage. Let's get in front of them and.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is the case, but maybe this is them considering adjusting their legislative forum process. Because, you know, that's one of the things that we've always heard, even from legislatures, it's very difficult. You go through, if you sign up and you go through, it's literally a pass-through every few minutes with them, you give them a document and you go. Mike, you've lived through some of those, and we've been told personally by legislators that that's difficult. That day is a very difficult day for them to retain anything, and they would much rather have a up close and personal conversation with their constituents. So
One at a time may give you better contact.
Yep.
But
I think
maybe-
that's what it'll end up being, and their schedules, you know, they're very busy. So. Okay.
Okay, everybody supportive of that?
Yeah.
Good.
Give Kevin the reins and go. All right,
I gotta go saying yes to this stuff, it just keeps adding.
too late.
This would be a good one, we need to start doing these types of things.
Okay, next we have up the consent agenda. Would anyone like to pull any of those and/or, oh, sorry, you got a new, I'm way ahead, sorry, Court. That went backwards and I went forwards too far. Okay. Correspondence.
We do not have any at this time.
Okay. Presentation, we have the strategic plan update.
So, if you notice, those of you who have seen the updates in the past, this is a different format of a document. And part of the reason for that is so there's room to really capture the update versus limiting the space and having the update be restricted. Just to explain the document, and then I'll turn it over to the administrators. We have the goal and objective at the top, and then beneath it, we have the priority area alignment. Might be 1, might be 2, might be 3, whatever the case may be, and then there are action steps from there. Okay, so you have each school listed there. We're going to start in the middle today. So, Mr. Hoover.
So our first objective that we came up with over the summer was to improve communication between the middle school and homes. And this is in the priority area of increased student, parent, and communication engagement. First thing for our action, that was the creation and implementation of a middle school communication plan. That's something that we had talked about in the past and never really, went anywhere with. We completed that. It's something that we're working to follow. I don't know if you have a live document that you can click on it to see it, but if you do, you can click on it and see it. Our next thing was we wanted to link live documents on the website, so things like course outlines. Was one of the examples, a virtual kind of backpack for each grade level. You know, in elementary school, the kids get a literal backpack that the teachers stuff with all the information. As a parent in the middle school, I didn't realize, I'll be blunt, how poor of a job we did in communication until I had a kid in the middle school and realized, holy cow, if I wasn't there, we're relying on 6th, 7th, and 8th graders to pass information on to their parents, and 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, that's not one of their strengths, is to pass information on to anybody. So we wanted to kind of bypass them in the process by doing this. So we've gotten to the point, we were hoping to do this a little quicker. We've gotten to the point where we have pretty much all these course outlines collected, and the next step now is to get that link on the website so parents can click on it and see what they need to see. Once we do that, we'll send out a communication. We'll put it in the newsletter, which is our next action step, and get that information out there so parents know where they can find out what's going on without relying on their 11, 12, 13, or 14-year-old to come home and tell them. The next action step was the inclusion of parent education information in report cards and progress reports. We sent out our first 5-week progress report about 5 weeks ago, and in that was information regarding attendance and the importance of attendance, and kind of a infograph on, missing one day, what that is equivalent to. The next one that we're sending out with our report cards here in the next week or so is helping parents understand what's typical of a middle school aged young adult or child. We see it every day in the middle school, and things that we know are typical. If you've never raised a middle schooler before, it doesn't seem like it would be typical behavior, if that makes sense. So, this chart kind of shows, all right, these things you're seeing, you're not alone. This is how kids this age are, I guess. Our second goal was to train staff to consistently use school tool and assist parents in understanding how to effectively use school tool. Honestly, this is the one we made the least amount of progress on. Going into it, I think we kind of knew that might be the case because of the switch in the school tool gradebook. We're to the point now where we kind of have the hang of it with the teachers, and now we know what it can do and how we can communicate what it can do to parents, or for parents. So we're to the stage now where I think we're going to be able to actually kind of move with that at some sort of pace. Our third objective was to increase engagement in SEL activities throughout the year. So one of the things, the first thing on there was compile circle questions. That's something that's kind of an ongoing thing. We have access through Sweethearts and Heroes that we've been working with them. They have some we've been able to compile. Also our the first 5, the Ed Tomorrow program, we've been able to do some of those. So we have them not quite compiled into one place like we want it to be, but we do have them compiled. The training that teaches how to run the circles. So we're to the point now where they've had the training, 2 of our 3 grade levels with Sweethearts and Heroes, and the teachers are able to kind of run those circles on their own. Our first go around for a full kind of implementation will be on December 6th, which is goes along with the next action step, which is quarterly. Originally, we were going to call them SEL days, but we realized that a lot of what we're doing is not necessarily under the umbrella of social emotional learning. It's more of a wellness day. So parts of it are social emotional learning, parts of it are more of a wellness type activities. So we changed the name of it to Middle School Wellness Days. You have a link there for it's a draft. It's probably close to being finalized schedule for each grade level. So it's things like our awards assembly. Student Council always has an activity each quarter. The first quarter is our Connect 4 tournament, so the championship is that. Some more physical activities like relay races and stuff, and then we actually have the Zoom-mobile coming in for each grade level. I was disappointed to find out that it's a Friday we're doing this, and they say that some of the more exciting animals are tired by Friday and might not get to come out, so we'll see what we get. I'm hoping it's something cool. I always think back to this YouTube video I saw of this lizard taking off through the gym, running away from one of these presentations. That could be our kid, that lizard taking off. We could be on YouTube. We're implementing the first 5. That's through Ed Tomorrow. It's a free service. Our teachers sign up for it. They get an email daily. We didn't feel that we were ready to necessarily implement it every day, but it is something that we're doing every Monday during advisor, and the teachers can pick and choose. Sometimes it's a humorous meme. Sometimes it's more interactive. There's a lot of different things. Kind of spurs conversation, helps our teachers get to know our students better. Our weekly SEL lessons during advisor, they've been ongoing. We've Wednesdays and Thursdays. Right now, we're working with the Sweethearts and Heroes program. Our access to that runs out next month or so, and at that point, we've been able to. Mrs. Hungerford helped us find money along with Dr. McDonald for the everyday speech, which is a continuation of what the elementary school already uses. We piloted it last year. The middle school, the teachers loved it. Really breaks down these SEL lessons in a way that makes sense to work with the age group. So we're going to be moving forward with that.
That was built into our targeted review, our DSEP grant.
SEL committee meetings, we've been having them. We've gotten some assistance, some advice and good feedback from the ISS department of BOCES. They've come down to work with us. It's more focused on the targeted review process, but a lot of these things kind of overlap, so we're kind of, I guess, probably not a PC term anymore, but killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll have to look up what's a better analogy. And then our pre and post survey. So we have Mrs. Button and I have we met with Christine Newell from BOCES to help with this process to set up something that we want it to be something we can use year after year, whatever survey we come up with. So we're in the process still of completing that. If all goes well, by mid-December, we'll be able to push that out and get that feedback and then see kind of what we can do and what we're doing well and what we need to improve on. Any questions on the middle school?
I have a question or comment, I guess, as a parent of a middle school child. I just want to say that the newsletter has been really helpful and informative, and I think that's a really good addition. And also a parent of a high schooler who's not an effective communicator. It had me thinking that we could use something like that in the high school as well, and potentially, in the elementary school. And I noticed that you had used it as sort of your administrative update.
Yeah.
It sort of just pulls everything together. It can be used in multiple ways. So I thought that maybe that's something we could consider for the other schools as well. Is if you're writing an update for us, it would be great if it could be more expansive and look prettier and then it goes to everybody.
Targeted
right?
review and the strategic plan, enough of it overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah. The information they want here.
We're also continuing to explore communication tools. As part, that's one of our goals, right, to increase engagement. And we actually had a presentation today regarding expansion onto our website app. That's a direct communicator with parents. Also pushes out classroom information and such. So that's under analysis. It's actually going to go to the teachers. Admin team had a review today. It's going to go to the teachers, and depending on how that's received and how they feel they can utilize it, that'll be coming forward during budget development as a potential add-on for next year through that. So we're continuing to look for all those tools as well. So go with middle.
Yep.
I don't care which one, whoever
All right,
wants to go.
At Townsend, our first objective was to increase attendance. This is underneath the priority area of increasing student, parent, and community engagement, reduce chronic absenteeism, and SEL. Our first step was really to provide family with resources to support them in different areas at our open houses so far this year. We've invited a lot more community partners in. It was really a hit even with families, but also with the children, just with all the little handouts and the gifts and everything for the kids to utilize. Was really a hit. We actually had teachers saying, well, can we come down there? But they were doing their presentations. We're also sending out letters to families similar to the middle school about educating them on absenteeism, what effects it has on their child. so that is going very well. Currently, we are working on a student survey and staff on why are they absent, why are they present. A lot of great answers from little kids of all ages, so the teachers are actually excited to see what comes out of this survey because the answers are very broad, what you'll see that's coming out there. We are also collecting soft data from parent phone calls that come in as to why their child is absent, and we're just starting a little tally chart to see what are some of the reasons from the parent perspective. So that data collection is really going to tell us a lot and inform our next steps on what we need to do for that. We are also fostering positive relationships with a trauma-informed lens. This goes along with the effective school solutions with Alyssa Andre, who presented at the conference day. She's been in the building observing teachers. They've been debriefing together. They've had boosters after school, where they're just getting that PD to see how else or what other strategies we can implement in the classroom. So a lot of work's being done there. Also similar to the middle school, we had Sweethearts and Heroes come in, which works with the kids on a circle and building that social emotional development and needs there.
Can you describe what a circle is?
So a circle is really just helping kids feel included into their environment, making them feel comfortable. So in our building, they sit down, they greet each other, you know, good morning, Mr. Hoover, and then we go around the circle and everybody would greet each other. We'll talk about updates for the day. We'll have questions for them to just respond to. And it's really just community building and just having conversations without the stress of the academics or, you know, and if a student doesn't feel comfortable, they can say, I passed today, because any question could come out of it.
No.
Pretty much.
Okay, thank you.
So I've been modeling that at my faculty meetings, so before we begin, all the staff will get in a circle. We will do a very large circle, and it will be very similar to what we do in the classroom, because I want to model that for the teachers so they carry it forward with the students. Because in the beginning, it's a little stressful. You know, you don't know what's going to come out of the kids' mouths, or you don't know what they're going to say, and you have to be prepared to be able to support that student. So I'm seeing success with it. I think teachers are starting to get more on board, which is great to see.
Interject, of course I
Yeah.
have to.
Mhm.
It's not always like a formal type thing. You know, I would do it with my football players. Sometimes something would come up between drills, and I'd say, just throw out a random question. You know, we're supposed to Halloween. What's your favorite Halloween candy? You know, it breaks the mood a little bit and lets the kids know that all right,
It's okay.
he's at least pretending that he cares about us.
Yeah, it does make a difference. Building off of that, our last step there was just, we have ADAC coming in to do Too Good for Violence with our 4th and 5th graders. That is something we've done in the past, just really on making good, positive, healthy choices in life. So that's our first goal. Our second objective there is to increase the efficiency of the academic instruction in Tier 1 and Tier 2. So that's the in the classroom instruction. How are we helping kids access the curriculum who are below? So what we've been doing in this area is a lot of data digging right now. Actually today after school, our AIS staff presented to the committee how students are chosen, what curriculum they're using, you know, how much time they spend with kids. And the next step is now they're going to pull some numbers for us, like how many kids are they servicing, how many kids need to be serviced. So it's going to be interesting what that data shows. The next one there is also a data poll. We had Katie Jeffers tonight present, who's our OT specialist on this. It's actually a 3-to-1 model, not a 4-week model. And it's just a different way of giving services to kids and to be able to reach more kids. So she did a presentation tonight on that, which we will bring back to Mr. Williams to see where we want to go with that and kind of determine the pros and cons of that model. The last piece there is discussion at all levels on Tier 1 and Tier 2. So grade chairs were charged with, here's our goal. Let's reflect as a grade level team. How are you differentiating your instruction? How are you building in those scaffolds, again, to raise put in those strategies so kids can access that curriculum. That has been going pretty well. We've also have the BOCES ISS team coming in to support our RTI, which again, RTI is where you're building those action plans for individual students to be able to be successful in class. So they're doing a wealth of data digging and just pulling out those strategies. So we're really peeling back, I always say we're peeling back the onion to see what else can we do. Is what we're doing effective or is it not? So it's going well. Our next one, goal 3, analyze the school environment to focus on parent and student engagement. This one is similar to our first goal. We have not spent much time here because we've been so focused on the first 2 goals. But again, in this area, we're talking about increasing that communication for parents, which we kind of spoke about tonight already, fostering positive relationships, bringing in those resources, and our next step would be to create a climate and culture survey, which we're working with Dan on currently. So that's it. Any questions?
Questions for elementary?
Wonderful.
Hearing none. High school.
So goal 1 at the high school was to increase the attendance for our students. Basically, take that chronic absenteeism rate and really start attacking that and get that way down. One of the ways we're going to do that is investigating our barriers to attendance. And during our bi-weekly attendance meetings, we also, so just to kind of go on what Mr. Luger said, our first and second goal mirror what our targeted new goals are. And the benefit to that is the BOCES instructional support team. They are attending like our attendance meetings, are giving us some best practices to really take what we're doing and add another level to it. At these attendance meetings, we are kind of like what Ms. Hector talked about, we are tallying these reasons for why students are absent, and we're going to get at the end of the year a really nice picture of why these students are not attending regularly. Continuing on, increasing attendance outreach, we are using some things that we already have in place, like recognizing our students who achieve high grades within the ice cream social. This year, we're going to be inviting students who have strong attendance per our attendance policy. That kind of incentivizes that strong attendance for those students. Another thing that we are just starting to discuss, and didn't make its way to this document, is a competition amongst the grade levels for who can have the highest attendance for a semester, for a marking period, whatever it is, and then come up with an incentive at the end for that as well. So going to goal number 2, again, you'll hear about things that we already have in place, like our building leadership team. We're really using that team that meets once a month to target the engagement piece. Rebecca Roberts sat in on the last meeting that we had and provided some excellent ideas, a way to get students to attend regularly. That team is going through that process right now. I talked about in the past our vaping cessation program. One of the most common, I guess, infractions students have in the code of conduct here in the high school, and taking a different approach where our first step to that is an education piece rather than exclusionary discipline. We are working through that new program, and it is keeping students in the classroom while also educating them to reduce the times of doing it in the future. At least that's the hope. Just going back to investigating and implementing opportunities for the academic support and successes. That's really done on an individual basis at the high school because students have such a dynamic set of courses that they could have on their plate based on whether or not they're in BOCES, are they an advanced student? That's something that our counselors are really playing a key role in helping facilitate for us here at the high school. Goal number 3 really targets the portrait of a graduate, and that timeline was for us to start kind of figuring out how we're going to do that in November. At our last department chair meeting, we asked all of our departments to note in their department meeting notes, which we all see, who from their department would like to be a part of that conversation. and then we're gonna follow that New York State, kind of go through that document of what a portrait of a graduate would look like for students here at Walton, because we do offer things that are very unique. We want to make sure that that portrait of a graduate is what it lines up with what we have to offer.
Okay. Any questions, Rice?
Just on the portrait of a graduate, one of my concerns with that, and I think it's good that, it's opening up opportunities for kids, with internships being one of them, but we live in a community that may not be able to support internships for, all the number of kids that we have in high school that might be interested in that. So that's just one of the things that I'm interested in. As the state pushes out guidance on that is, what are the requirements gonna be for internships, and we could look at opportunities to.
Yeah, there's a lot that we
expand
still
the
don't
community.
know, but
Yeah.
it would be worthwhile for us to go through it and see how we match up currently with the guidance that's out there.
One of the things when we have like our community meetings, things like that, a lot of the businesses around are, what I hear when we're speaking to them, the internship opportunities out there are across all fields. There's a lot of interest in the community. It'd be interesting to see if we could get to that point of saturation, because every time we have a community meeting, there's people that are saying, we have internships for this, we have internships for that, all across, from the hospital to even our technical end, the engineering to lactalis to, it seems like it'd be nice to explore and say, how many businesses are actually out there, and what's the field of the opportunities, and then see if we can match up students. I think it'd be great.
So, and one advantage that we have is sitting right there in the front row. So BOCES has a long-standing work-based learning relationship due to the CTE program, has that as a requirement. I think they have, last I knew, like 300 and some relationships with regional employers. How many they have over this way, I do not know. They do have a program that actually added a second person this year and is growing, which we had during a grant function when it was in the infancy stages, called Career Destinations, which actually does a lot of this outreach work for the district. Where it gets difficult for a school district is you just don't have the time or the personnel to go out there and bang the pavement and be reaching out and to set these things in motion. And that's exactly what that program is for. I know because I'm the one who wrote it up and developed it. So it's there. It's something that can be considered in the future. The last I knew, it was for, I think, a day a week. It was like 27,000 before aid. So it's something that in the future years, as this portrait of graduate comes clearer, if the district wanted to go to that next step, that service seems like it's alive and well and growing. So that's out there as well, just to keep in mind. Or even if it's just asking for support on establishing our own here. So just, there's a couple of things that were mentioned. ISS was mentioned a number of times. So just to get some clarity, anytime we use acronyms, we always try to remember it, may not know it at the table. So that's Instructional Support Services, which is a department through DCMO BOCES. What it has coordinators in different content areas, ELA, math. You heard Nan's name, Christine Gould's name. Christine is ELA, Nan is math. They're the ones that do the training directly to our teachers. So in our DCEP, Targeted Review grant, one of the options was to initiate a relationship with BOCES and engage with them on a contractual basis to give your administrative support, because it's a lot, and they're running a school, each one of them, with some very interesting, time-consuming tasks. So what we did is we were able to contract and receive 40 additional days. We have 5 days each year annually, so for a total of 45 days. The teams work together, develop the calendar, develop tasks that align with the targeted review, and they're getting some unbelievable support, is what I'm hearing. Everybody's very happy with the support and the teamwork that's being received. So, one, thank you to DCMO for having the ability to give that kind of time. But this is exciting. If you remember the last 2 years with the strategic plan, it was overwhelmed. You didn't see as much progress as you just saw in quarter 1. And it's because we have 3 majors, we have the action steps within them. It's linked to the targeted review. It's a must do, not a may do. And there's a focus on it, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Every one of these items has impact, positive for kids. So not only thank you for the administrators, but thank you for the teams, to the teams and the staff members and teachers who are really diving into this work. So this is great for a first quarter report. I couldn't be happier. So I hope you see the difference as well.
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment that it's remarkable the difference that, we're seeing in this reporting, and I saw it right away just through the newsletter that came out this fall, which to me is a variant, so I think we're really seeing some improvements in our strategic planning. Now it's being
Absolutely, and things aligned.
Yeah.
So it's exciting times.
Just one other question, how does this all align with the targeted school?
Majority of the targeted review items folded into the strategic planning. If you remember that day when I reviewed that, and most of them were taken in. There are a few outliers that we're looking at to make sure that we're addressing those. But in particular, the climate survey, chronic attendance, all of those items. What will happen with those is any of them that we're surveying data is we'll use the totality of the data for the strategic plan. We'll break it down to economically disadvantaged for the targeted review. And we'll look at the subgroup data as well. So 60% of our kids being economically disadvantaged, it'd be silly to just do that 60%. We do the whole and see what we can get from the whole with the climate survey, attendance review, all these items. Does that make
When's
sense?
the actual next required report out on that?
Not till the spring when they tell us what we have to report out.
Oh, okay.
Anything else? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have additions to the agenda.
As Mr. Dutcher mentioned earlier, we have one new business item, 10F, which is authorizing pursuit of funding through the Catskill Watershed Corporation to assist with a feasibility study regarding relocating the bus garage. I would also like to bring to your attention that we adjusted new business items relating to the change orders. We deleted 2 of them, one being the plumbing fixtures and the other being the installation of window security film. And we modified another 2. Chiller control replacements was modified from Stark Tech to A. Trefferson and Sons. And the same for boiler control replacements, that was modified from Stark Tech to A. Trefferson and Sons. And those are all new business items.
I'll make a comment on the ones that were deleted. Sure. The reason why the 2 items were removed was additional information and clarity that Meg and I received from a meeting that she set up with fiscal. We're making sure that all items are eatable for the project. Okay?
Fixtures are being done, they're just being done through the allowance that we already have in the county.
The plumbing
So that
fixtures.
is
There was no need for a change order for that item.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, now we're up to the consent agenda resolution. And are there any of those that anyone wants to discuss individually and or pull off the consent agenda? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a motion.
Motion second, any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is passed. Next, we have new business 10A, which is accepting donations. We'd like to accept the following donations with sincere appreciation: $300 from Farm Credit East to the Walton FFA chapter, and $100 from James Mateka and Beth Ryan to the Walton Athletic Department in memory of Joan Coppola. Kevin, did you move that to accept those donations?
Yes.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are accepted. Next, we have approval of the tax collector reports. Any discussion on those?
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. Next, we have the authorization of security assessment engineering services proposal. Would you like to elaborate any on that?
Certainly. So as a pre-referendum work to assist us with doing a proper design regarding the facility security, especially at Townsend, which is a priority item. But with that, do an assessment of our entire, both campuses to ensure, kind of get an assessment of where we're at. We've done a lot, as you know, has been communicated over time, but this will kind of give us an outside expert viewpoint. The individual who conduct these is from a national renowned company called Armored One, who now works for CNS companies. So they'll give us a report. We will share that confidential report both with the board and the safety committee when it's completed, and use it for design considerations as we move forward with the project.
That report will stay confidential, correct?
Yes,
As a-
absolutely. And that's, the reasoning for that is they're assessing current safety measures in place.
Right.
So it'll be confidentially held.
Any further discussion on that? If not, I entertain a motion to authorize it.
A second.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Next, we have the approval of the capital project 2023 Phase 2 change order boiler control replacements. Any discussion on that?
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Next, we have approval of capital project 2023 Phase 2 change order chiller control replacements. Any discussion on that?
I'll move it.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor to approve it signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. And we are up to policy review. Would you please, Mr. Verweer?
So as part of our annual policy review, please review the following policies: 3120, duties of the superintendent; 4850, animals in the school; 5100, student attendance; and 8414.5, alcohol and drug testing of drivers.
Okay, just please review those at your own convenience. And finally, we're up to administrative remarks.
Okay, we'll start with Mr. Lewis.
As you heard already on Thursday, we have 7 students being inducted into the National Technical Honor Society of the BOCES. It's such an incredible honor for those students. They have to hit a pretty robust set of criteria, maintain 85 or overall average here at their home district in BOCES, and then also be proficient in a variety of skills based on the program that they choose. 7's a pretty big number for us. I don't remember the last time we had 7. It's just a great accomplishment for those kids, and they were recognized.
Any questions for Art?
I'm excited to see that we participated with the Sydney Federal Credit Union.
Yep.
That personal finance is really, I think it's very important that they're involved in that. Hands-on activities, I think, really drive it home better than a book, so thank you.
Absolutely. The City Federal, I don't know if you heard.
Oh, the real world. Funny
Yes.
yeah. That Eric Schofield took his students up, and they had a fantastic time with that. And actually, I think he's taking another group up in the spring, because I think it's held twice.
Good, wonderful. It'll be interesting to see how that grows over time. This is, like a first, I think City Federal just got, this is the first year, I think, of their relationship with BOCES. Mike, you may not know this, I won't be in a spot. But I think it's the first year of them expanding this, so it'll be interesting to see how it grows. They seem to be very, very engaged in doing this in the communities.
So for Townsend, speaking of the Federal Credit Union, they are starting in December, pushing into our second, third grade classrooms to do some education on savings accounts, just that financial piece. So that was nice that you brought that up. So that will be coming to Townsend shortly. Also, I just want to highlight that our zip line is open at Townsend, still a very big hit. Kids are excited, they're out there even in the dark, trying to zip up and down. So it's been a great addition to our playground, so thank you.
I might have sent the board your training email,
Oh.
the videos.
So, all right, maybe you've seen the videos too. But everybody was excited, even the adults, they wanted to get on there and they were doing it, so that's awesome. I also want to just highlight Mr. Clerking tonight. He has been doing the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen for all the time that I've been there. He did write up a little blurb for everybody tonight, so you know what he is focused on in this group, but it's been phenomenal for our kids. So this group was offered to 12th, 4th, and 5th graders for a chance to learn important skills that are beneficial for society. Lessons we implemented this year ranged from handshakes to tying ties to sportsmanship and how to maintain a conversation. They practiced the skills with each other adults in the building, and even came into my office to make sure that I was aware of what they were learning. So the kids are excited about it. We're very excited that Mr. Clerkin continues to do this every year, so kudos to him. But it's a great program. Just upcoming, I just want to highlight that we do have the 2nd grade feast coming up on November 21st, which will be in our playroom. And we are getting ready for our winter concerts coming up, so it's going to be a busy time.
Mr. Ward?
I'm gonna, to all the fun stuff that's in there with the pictures and stuff, so, tell you about some of that I think is fun and exciting that we've been working on with assistance from BCMO BOCES and the ISS. One of the things we realized we weren't doing very well in the middle school is we were identifying the kids who maybe needed extra help in math or English or ELA, but really didn't target the skills when we went to work with them. So instead of saying, all right, this is a skill you need to work on, this is where we're gonna focus, we kind of said, all right, we're just gonna help you in math, instead of focusing on that. So we've been working with both Rebecca Roberts and Dan Zowski from BOCES on ways to use the tools we have to focus on those specific skills. So we're to the point now where, without changing our schedule or anything, that we're going to be able to probably mid-year, change some individual schedules. I should have said not change the master schedule and focus on skills, specific skills, as opposed to saying, all right, you're going to get extra help in English or you're going to get extra help in math. And I don't know, since we came up with that, outside set of eyes is nice every once in a while to kind of look at and say, well, you have a lot of this in place, why don't you take the next step? To kind of be encouraged to do that and help in that process is pretty cool. Talking with the three awesome educators we've been working with from BOCES, they seem pretty excited to work with Walton, and one of the reasons why they said that is because they were speaking about all three of us is you actually want us to help you with these things. And I think a lot of times they go into districts and people are resistant, and I don't know if it's ego or whatever that gets involved, but I think the three of us said, hey, we know there's areas we need to improve on. How can we do that? Because we want to do what's best for the kids. It's kind of cool to hear somebody outside say something like that too. So, now look at the pictures of the Halloween costumes.
Any questions for Adam? So one of the resounding themes that you heard tonight throughout the reporting, various things through it, was basically a term that can be encompassed underneath the terminology of data-informed instruction. And it's one of the hardest things for districts. Effective districts are there, but it's a hard thing to get to because it takes time, it takes effort, it takes skill. And that's where we're trying to go. We've been trying to do it. It's been a focus of Melanie's since she came into the district from another district with a fresh perspective, and we've been working to go there. So if this targeted review, which is DCIP, is continuous improvement, right? District continuous improvement plan. That's what the state's goal is. If them giving you the money to go and implement, to be able to do these things, to bring in the support. If that moves the needle on this, it is huge. It's huge. So just to elaborate on that. So I just had a couple of things. One, just to hit on what Graydon said earlier about the Townsend School from the Facilities Committee meeting. We're in the last items. Hopefully they will be done next week during Thanksgiving break. And then after a final inspection for cleanliness, making sure that everything is fine before the sealed walls come down. Then we'll make a determination when we're happy with it, and we have health safety coming in. Rick Shaw comes in. They've been great throughout the projects. He makes unannounced visits and then hammers us with updates on what needs to be taken care of, whether it's construction or internal, to make sure that everybody's safety and comfort level is where it needs to be. And Rick does not hold back. If anybody knows Rick, he does not hold back, and that's exactly what we need. So right in the home stretch, when those walls come down, we will then schedule the open house. Right now, I'm thinking it'll be the first or second week. We initially were hoping for the first, but the timing of making sure that this inspection things, I do not want to rush to the finish. We're right there, but I want to make sure everybody's comfortable in the building, and that we make sure everything is clean when we take that down and get there. So if it's the second week of December, fine. We targeted Christmas break for a switch over anyway, so we're early. So that will be coming. We'll communicate that and advertise it when we firm that up. I've explained to the board before, I've joined the DCMO Capital Project Development. I have a next meeting tomorrow, and I'll begin to provide updates in upcoming Friday letters regarding that process and progress. Okay? That sounds good. That's it? Yep.
Okay, we do have a need for an executive session for the purpose of discussing the future employment of particular persons. We'd also like to invite Corey into that exec as well as Mike Brule. We have a motion that captures that.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion on that? If not, we will go into exec. Do I have a motion? We're not planning on taking any action after the exec. Do we have a motion to go back into general session and then adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are in exec. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you guys have a good night.
Thank you.
Grace, I have a form I need you to sign.